Make way for a herd of ponies. It's that filly from Ford that has become a flat-out mainstay.
Are you ready?
When it comes to U.S. muscle cars, it has a following that is serious about this vehicle.
The Ford Mustang is a red-blooded American icon.
The Mustang is by far the coolest car that the automotive industry has ever produced.
It's the world of Mustang.
It's loud. Ow! So it's the only way to come to St. Louis or any rock concert basically is in a car like that with a bunch of fans out here. This is as good as it gets. This is why you do it.
Now, on Hot Rod TV.
That gives me goosebumps.
It's a car that saw the turbulent 60s, the me decade of the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and beyond. And for a ride that's been around that long, she sure does look good. Few names, if any, in the automotive world have survived like this one, begging the question, why is it Mustangs?
Why is it Mustangs? Because Mustangs are the coolest car on the planet, man. I mean, always had blue coursing through my veins. There were too many Chevy guys. Everybody had one. I didn't want one, you know? So I like being an underdog.
Well, it might be tough to be considered an underdog when you're as popular as this pony. Today we're checking out the reasons as to why Mustang fans are in love with their favorite car.
I think just its heritage, you know, so many years of just performance and being at the track and stylish lines. It's just, you know, an American icon.
Many modify them, especially the classic models of the 60s and 70s.
The Mustangs, for me, you know, it's the same deal I'm always into. It's real muscular. It's really light. It's easy to, you know, put a cam in it, put an intake on it, you know, do very little to it. Put a carb on, some headers, and you got a car that you can really get out on the street and tear it up, and you know, you don't have that much money in it. So it's a great fun car to just get out and, you know, haul butt in and have a great time.
I'm a Ford guy. I don't know why, you know, I just am. I think it was the age I was when Mustangs came out, you know, as a kid, and they just blew me away.
And like many Mustang fans, a young Sammy Hagar could see that battle lines were drawn.
But it's just that the Chevy guys, back when I was in high school, were not my buddies. Ford guys are my buddies. I'd sneak into the drags, you know, when I was little. We'd ride our bikes out to Fontana drag strip and watch the Fords and Chevys go at it, you know. Always rooted for the Fords.
Well, the drag strip and this car have been close friends for many years, and that's easy to understand. It's hard to find a Mustang that isn't up for a good run on the track. The same friendship exists between collectors and the Mustang, a car that's been reinvented a lot, both as mainstream production models and special editions.
Actually, I was looking for a Shelby, and a friend of mine said he didn't know where there was a Shelby one day. He said, I actually know where there's a Boss. He didn't say it was a Boss 429, and got in the car, went looking, and lo and behold, it was a Boss 429. So it had been setting for probably, I'd say 20 years or so. When I got it, original miles were just over 23,000 miles, and the guy just wanted to get rid of it at that time. I never thought about owning a Boss 429 because they're so rare. But the minute I saw it, I said, we're taking it home.
Well, millions of Mustangs have been taken home since their debut back in 1964, and some say they know the reason why.
The Mustang is by far the coolest car that the automotive industry has ever produced.
The Ford Mustang is a red-blooded American icon and makes you feel like a young man every time you get behind the seat.
And when we come back, we'll find more proof of that right here on Hot Rod TV. Hot Rod TV is looking at the life and times of that car known as the Mustang. If you love both hot rods and performance, it's a car you probably know a great deal about. Now, some guys just bleed blue, so if it's not a Ford, they don't want to know. Of course, some say the Mustang wasn't a performance machine until a certain man came along. He wrote the book when it comes to muscle cars. Yeah, many today will claim that the Mustang simply rules, and one of the big reasons is this guy. From chicken farmer to award-winning racer to builder of the coolest cars, he's a legend who's done it all and then some. But don't tell that to Carroll. He still takes life one day and one big dream at a time.
I wake up in the morning and at 83, if I went broke tomorrow and turned me loose January the 1st, Chicago on the lake, naked, by February the 1st, I'd be happy and content doing something somewhere, so it never worried me about failure.
Back in 1964, Ford's sporty-looking sales sensation didn't have too much of a real performance image, and Shelby saw that.
It got pretty competitive, and they built bigger and bigger engines back then and put them in these lousy old chassis they had, and lousy suspension and lousy brakes. And somebody started calling them muscle cars. Boy, I'll tell you, the prices that those things bring now, I can't imagine it.
Ford had attempted to get the Mustang accepted for sports car racing, but they failed.
Ray Geddes, that worked for Ford and was my coordinator, says we really ought to do this because we're running out of building Cobras and having trouble selling what we got, and it might be a chance for us to keep the company going.
So they turned to Carroll Shelby to help give the car a facelift and bolster its overall image as a fast vehicle.
And Icoca called me and says, "Hey Shelby, we've got to make the Mustang a version of it into a sport car." I really didn't want to do it.
He started with what he called a secretary's car, and he built the GT350. It all began when Ford introduced their Mustang in 1964. The car was immediately popular for its style and capabilities, but Shelby knew he could make it better. His formula had always included large engines and small vehicles. The Mustang looked like it would fit the bill. He introduced the Shelby GT350 in 1965. In 1967, Shelby topped the 350 with his Shelby GT500, a car that boasted a 428 cubic inch engine, and in true Shelby fashion, put out more than 350 horsepower. These old Shelbys are rare and valuable, and anybody lucky enough to own a vintage Shelby is, well, very lucky.
One of our 66 Mustangs the other day sold, one of the race versions sold for over $1 million.
Yeah, it's amazing what all these Shelbys are bringing now in the collector car world.
Well, they do come from the mind of one very smart guy.
Smart guy, he's a brilliant guy. He's an icon now. I mean, if you go to any event, the line is 1 million people long to get his autograph.
Well, in this case, the line stretched to Iceland. Carroll Shelby has fans from all around the world, spanning the many generations of Mustang enthusiasts.
I've been, I'm born in '57, and around '69 I started, really getting into cars. And when I saw the '69 Shelby for the first time at a photograph, I said, one of the days I'm gonna get one like that. And it took me about 15, 20 years to find one, but I did, and I just love the body style and what it's all about.
Mustang lovers come in all shapes and sizes. Some are even rock stars. Sammy Hagar is getting a custom Mustang built.
Are you ready?
Let's party!
That gives me goosebumps.
Stick around.
You're watching Hot Rod TV.
And in case you're from Iceland,
Þið eruð að horfa á Hot Rod TV.
Hot Rod TV is checking out the Mustang, that long-distance runner that's been on the road since 1964.
I think they hit it out of the park by coming up with some of the, the new lines and the new styling, but still hold on to some of the original lines and mystique of that car. People who are buying cars, that can afford cars, and they're out there driving those types of cars, they might have had a car that's very similar to that in 68, 69, 70, and to own a new one with all the new technology, that's the best of both worlds.
All Mustang lovers have their own preference. Some want vintage classic, while others want modified or even brand new.
Mustang's got a lot of history, man. It's like, they're just such a special car.
Here at Gateway Classic Mustang, Bourbon, Missouri, they're rebuilding Sammy Hagar a 67 that truly will be the best of both worlds.
I'll guarantee he ain't gonna drive 55 with this motor.
Yeah, I've had a 65, a 66 convertibles, and then I had my 67 GT500, which was way too radical because I bought it was trashed. And so we just ground up restoration, and I found a NASCAR engine, a 427 Teleport, out of Ohio, and it was in a crate, and it was out of a Merc Marauder, man, that did NASCAR. So it was a flat-out engine. So we take it out of the crate, brand new. We're going, we got a brand new engine. We got the car completely tweaked up, like gorgeous, looked like this, and stuck that engine in there, started it up, and man, that thing was so radical. Carroll Shelby came to look at my car, and he signed my dash in it because he liked my car. And he said, he goes, man, that engine, he goes, I never could get that to run right. I said, well, now you tell me, man. I would have put a different engine in it.
Luckily for Sammy, he's not going to have the same trouble with this ride.
Oh, yes, come on now. Are you people blind? This is gorgeous. This is it. It's what I'm talking about. Are you ready? I'm not gonna hurt you. We're gonna take it easy because I want to get to know the car a little bit. Yeah, man, loving life. Ow! This is what I'm talking about. The new Red Rocker. Woo! Music, baby. It's loud. Ow! Well, I didn't really bank it into corners, but it feels like it would handle about a lot more than I could. You know what I mean? It's like some cars, you're going, I don't even know where this limit is because I don't have the guts to put it there. I want to drive it some more. I'm going to drive it to the concert. I got a little show tonight in town, and I want to pull up in this mother. This is what my fans expect from me, and this is the way I like to do it. And not just for them, for me. It's my car. That's how you know. You just know. It's like a guitar. You put it on, you start playing it, this is my guitar. Well, this is my car.
And now it's arriving at the show. Sammy truly got here in style.
What do you think of the arrival, Sammy? I think it's awesome. It's the only way to come to St. Louis or any rock concert, basically, is in a car like that with a bunch of fans out here. This is as good as it gets. This is why you do it. It's quite effective because my fans are motorheads too.
Don't you dare go away. The party continues with even more Mustangs when we come back. And not that you need it, but here's a friendly reminder.
You're watching Hot Rod TV, baby.
Mustangs are at the center of a vast and fevered following. Some fans became hooked decades ago, while others might be recent converts. And a lot of enthusiasts were hit with it back when they first got their own Mustang.
I bought a Mustang GT, an 87 Mustang GT, back in the day with all 225 horsepower, and I thought that was it.
I like the fastback, is probably my favorite Mustang, and I really like what Ford's done with the new Mustang.
Few names in the automotive world have both classic and fully contemporary rides within their fleet. But then again, not every line of car is the Mustang. Today, this pony is as relevant as ever.
All right, we're looking at the all-new FR500S. It really is a production Mustang GT that's effectively been decontented by about 300 pounds. It's got the stock powertrain of around 325 horsepower, brings in some of the best attributes from the Shelby GT500 King of the Road. It's got the 6-speed and the reinforced rear axle with a 3.73 final drive ratio.
Again, it's Shelby and Ford both looking at each other and going, man, we have something here.
We are looking at the FR500 GT. So looking through the ladder system, this is the ultimate Mustang road racer coming out of Ford Racing.
When it comes to Ford, Jamie knows what he's talking about. Few have been infused with the love of both the Mustang and Ford like this man.
I went to Fordson High School. I lived off Ford Road. I mean, this thing is just in my blood. I mean, I bleed Ford blue. This is a special edition Mustang that features unique accessories and performance from Ford Racing and the newly launched custom accessories from Ford Motor Company. So as you walk around the car, you'll see it's got the hood scoop, it's got the paint stripes, it's got the splitter, but more importantly, this car, the V6, comes with true dual exhaust, an additional Ford Racing cold air kit, and a nice little lowering and a handling pack that make the car a lot of fun to drive for a V6 Mustang.
As we've been saying, some like new Mustangs, and some like old Mustangs, and some have even figured out how to have both.
They have everything to make these cars what they were in '67, and they know it, and they're really capitalizing on it. And all I can do is sit back as an owner of a shop going, I love this.
Some have a preference because it's been something of a family thing for many a generation.
I kind of have an affinity for the early Mustang because my grandfather handed down a Mustang to my dad and then to me, so that was my first car, and I didn't really know anything about cars at the time, so that was my introduction and how I was shaped into the car world.
Others were also bitten at a young age, just knowing they were going to drive a Mustang.
I've had a passion for Mustangs and Shelbys since I was probably 15 years old.
I fell in love with those as a kid, and from the time I was able to know what a Mustang was and know what it was about till even before I was old enough to drive, I wanted a Mustang. That was the only car I wanted.
Coming up, it's the birthday of automotive icon Carroll Shelby, and Sammy Hagar is making even more tracks with his new Red Rocker Mustang.
Stay tuned for more Hot Rod TV.
It's Carroll Shelby's birthday, and we're celebrating. He's given a lot to the car world, and he's a true part of Mustang history.
I brought a '69 GT500 Shelby to the party, mainly because I wanted to show it and have Carroll sign the dash for me.
That '69 Shelby GT500 clearly turned a lot of heads as it made its way to this party.
People kill themselves to pull up next to you to check it out and give you the old thumbs up, you know. It's awesome. Then they want to hear it, you know what I mean?
And even if your Mustang isn't a classic Shelby, it's still a ride that has quite a large following. Some would say it's easily the most sought-after name in its class.
It's the most popular pony car. I mean, bar none. I don't care what you look at. If you look at Chevy, if you look at Mopar, they are the most popular pony car. Their sales are through the roof. I mean, they have been 64 and a half when they introduced it. It's still going strong. Everybody likes it. It's popular with men and women. I mean, there's nobody I don't know that, hates a Mustang.
We'll give you a moment to figure out what he just said, but he's right, because you can't hate a Mustang, even if you're a Mopar guy like Kenny Wayne.
This is my neighbor's car. I'm stealing your car, bud. See you later.
I'm all about anything that makes power and goes fast, so, you know, that's me.
Sammy Hagar is an enthusiast who sees a cool Mustang as its own form of entertainment. A colorful, fast-moving show with a whole lot of volume.
I think that cars and going fast and loud, you know, the whole macho image of it and all that, just like being on stage. Driving a car like that, the racket it makes, the way it looks, it attracts attention, attracts people, attracts, you know, girls, sorry to say, you know, I'm into that, you know. And it just, being on stage is kind of the same thing, you know. You wear fancy clothes and you make a lot of noise up there.
This car makes me happy, makes me feel good. I like the smell of the oil, the gas, the exhaust, burning rubber.
Burning rubber is always a big thing to me.
This is the kind of car you don't need a rear view mirror because nobody's gonna be coming up behind you.
Look at that thing. That's awesome. I mean, this really, truly is gonna be one of my favorite cars. I'll put so many miles on things, next time the guys see it, it'll be like wore out.
Well, the next time we see you, it'll be right here on Hot Rod TV. And for all you Mustang fans, we hope you enjoyed the ride.